Yo, what's good with y'all boys? Today we're gonna be checking out the NBA 2K27 rosters. Just my really a little bit quick little recap of my thoughts and all that on how I like these guys overalls. Um, I'll try to make it short and simple. So starting off here with Philadelphia, we got Maxey at 92, we got Jalen Brown 91, LeBron and beat all 91s. I do think Jalen Brown should be higher. Um, Maybe like a 92, 93. I feel like 91's a bit um, too low for his season he had last year. Maxi, I don't hate him at 92. LeBron, yeah, 91 is pretty reasonable. Embiid as well. He has a lot of injuries. Edgecombe, good 83. Simons, everything else seems you know, pretty good in my opinion. Next, Milwaukee, we have Tyler Hero at 85. Um, I guess that's fine. He's good at 85. Rollins, I know he had a pretty decent year last year. ADS fine. Ware 79, Turner 79. Um, Everything else looks pretty good on here. I don't hate that. Gary Trent, man. Yo, the real ones remember the Gary Trent Jr. Raptors days, bro. People thought he'd be like one of the next top 10 shooting guards in the league, but he kind of fell off a bit. He had a really bad year last year. Maybe he has a good year this year. Who knows? Um, Gidler is at 84. Powell's 84. Um, Buzelis 81, Claxton 80, Jones 79. Caleb Wilson. Caleb Wilson should be pretty high by the end of the season. I'm gonna say he's probably gonna be like an 83 at the end of the year, 82, 83, and then maybe next 2K we start like an 84, 85. I think Caleb Wilson will be probably a top three, easily a top four rookie in this draft class. The Cavs, Mitchell 80, 93, James Harding 87, Evan Mobley 87, Allen 85. Honestly, that's pretty accurate. I don't really have any problems with that. Peyton Watson 79. He had a pretty good year last year, um, so I don't hate him there either. Um, Boston, you got Tatum at a 93. Um, I don't hate it. I think he should be a bit higher, but he did not play much last year, so it does make sense. I think Tatum's probably like a 95. Derek White 83. Okay, that's fine. Paul George 82. Paul George should be maybe an 83, honestly. 80, maybe even an 84. He had a very good playoff run too. He did pretty well in the playoffs, but he's getting up there in age. I think 82 is probably decent, but maybe he could be 83, 84. Pritchard 82, Robertson, Kada, Hauser. Everything else seems, yeah, I like that. Mike Conley 75. He's getting up there in age, I guess. Kawhi Leonard on the Clippers. I'm really hoping this trade goes through as a Raptors fan. I hope I see Kawhi Leonard playing for the Raptors next season. But for now, fortunately, he's in LA. So 93, pretty good for him. Maybe even a 94 after the year he had last year. Garland 84. That's alright, I guess. And then everyone else is below 80s. They did just pick up Max Struess. Hachimura had a pretty decent year last year. And yeah, this team's pretty not the best. But if they get Brandon Ingram and Grady Dick, I do think that they will be probably like one of the worst teams easily in the NBA next season. So they could go out and potentially get a top 5 pick in the draft next year. Memphis, this is one of probably the worst teams in the NBA. Even though I do think that they're sort of deep if you low-key think about it. But you got Ty Jerome 80. Dude, Ty Jerome is your best player. What the heck? I mean, I would think maybe like who would you consider like their best player? Like I know Cedric Howard's pretty exciting and young and fun to watch, but like maybe Zach Edey. I mean, they are all tied in overalls. Where is he? People have Cameron Boozer. Being maybe the best player on Memphis this year, which is kind of crazy. Only 19 years of age. But like Jeremy Grant, he can score the ball. Jalen Wells, he's also young and exciting. G.G. Jackson, young and exciting. He's only 21, bro. I feel like he's been around for a few years. And he's only 21. Like they got Isaiah Stewart, Cam Spencer, not too bad. Scottie Pippen Jr. Like they low key have decent depth, but it's just a bunch of players that are like mid as hell, or like maybe even a little bit below mid to be honest. But yeah, this team's obviously not going to make playoffs, and they're going to probably tank and hopefully get a top pick in the draft next year. Atlanta, a team I can see maybe surprising a lot of people. They got Jalen Johnson. He's a top 15, top 20, top 15 player. I don't mind him at 87. I do think that might go up a little bit. Um, CJ McCollum, 83. I feel like that might be a little bit high, but he did play pretty decent with Atlanta last year. Alexander Walker, shout out, he's Canadian. Shout out to him, but 83 is pretty solid. He did have almost people call it a breakout year. I could say he had a very good year last year. He averaged like what 16 or 17 a game. And he's pretty good defensively as well. Jason Daniels 81. I don't mind that. Um, he did have a good year 2 years ago when he first year on Atlanta, but then last year he was like not much progression. But 81, he's still a probably top 10 defender, top 15 defender in the league. Okongwu 81. I don't hate that. Lou Dort 79. I don't hate that either. Very good rotation player. Aaron Wiggins 76. Londale 75. Buddy Hield, man. I remember him a few years ago. He had a pretty good year with the Warriors, but he's only at 74 now. And then their rookie, if he can get some consistent playing time and score the ball like he should be, he could go up as well. Miami's a team that you know could consider a championship contender. They're probably a top 5 team in the East. They should be top 6 with this roster, but people do fear their depth. But Giannis at 96, I like that. Bam at 87. People call him overrated because of the whole 83-point thing. But I think Bam, he can give you 20 points a game, and he's a top tier defender, so I don't hate that. Bobby Portis 80, might be a little bit too high honestly, but I guess we'll let it slide for now. Andrew Wiggins 79, shout out to my Canadian. Tim Hardaway Jr. 79, that could be a little bit high honestly. He didn't have the best year last year. He maybe I wouldn't mind him like a 77, maybe 78, but 79 kind of seems a bit high. But hey, we'll see. He's a good shooter, so. Larson, another guy that the Heat. He's one of the younger players on the Heat. He's 25, but 78 also seems kind of high, even though he had a pretty good second half of the season last year. Maybe a 77 as well for Larson. Davion Mitchell should be higher. I think he's a 79. He's not known for his scoring, but man, is he a lockdown defender? And he's a pretty decent playmaker, I could say too. Klay Thompson, I don't mind at a 76. He did have a pretty bad year last year, but I think it should go up. Maybe by the end of the year he'll be like a 78, 79. I feel like he's gonna get a lot of good looks with Giannis and Bam. And then Fontecchio, a guy that they didn't want to trade. Oh no, never mind. I'm getting that mixed up with somebody else. And then Jovic. Jovic is 73. I thought he had a pretty good last few years. He's a pretty decent rotational player, but they got to keep him. They didn't get to send him over to the Bucks. The Hornets, a team that I don't really understand why they traded LaMelo Ball still, but I kind of understand maybe trying to give Con Knippel more looks, I guess. I don't know. But they got Naz Reid, solid player. Brandon Miller, 85. I don't hate that. He did have a pretty good year last year. He averaged like 20. Con Knippel, 84. I also don't hate that. One of the best rookies last season. Naz Reid, 82. Kind of seems a bit high. I think he should be like an 80. Kobe White, 80. I don't mind that. Grayson Allen, what the hell is he doing in 80? Why is Grayson Allen 80? He's like a 76, 77 maybe, but 80 is way too high. He didn't have a horrible year last year, but damn, 80. It's like you're telling me Grayson Allen's Kobe White's way better than Grayson Allen, bro. Diabate, he had a pretty good year last year. 79, I don't mind that. Cockbrenner, another player that had a pretty decent year last year. Solid backup center. Royce O'Neal, 76, I don't mind. Dennis Schroeder, his 27th NBA team in the last few years. 76, I don't mind that either. And Sion James and Grant Williams, 74s. The Jazz, a team that I can see maybe even making the play in this year in the West. They're pretty stacked. And yeah, Larry Markin is your best player, 86. That's pretty fair. Jaren Jackson Jr., that's pretty fair, 86. Keontae George, 84, I guess. Yes, he did have a very good scoring year last year. His defense isn't the best, but if he can give you 18 to 20, 21 in a game, he's doing his job. Isaiah Collier, 80. I find that's a bit high, but he didn't have a too bad year. I feel like he should be like a 78. Darren Peterson, a guy that could win Rookie of the Year. He's not really known for his defense, but he can possibly average like between 17 and 20 points per game this year, even higher. And that could definitely win him Rookie of the Year. Ace Bailey, 79. I don't hate it either. He did have a not bad season, but like he wasn't really like shocking. Like he'd score, he's a good rotational player. I still think he possibly could be an all-star, but he's still a ways away. 79 is fine. Filipowski. Yeah, this team is. They also got Jackson Hayes. So hey, They have a lot of bigs on this team. I feel like this team is huge. Um, the Sacramento Kings, a team that I think should just tank and just trade Domantas Sabonis. I don't know why he's still on this roster, but Sabonis 85. He didn't have the best year last year. I think he dealt with some injuries. That's fine with me. Zach LaVine 82. It's kind of low. Maybe 83. Maybe yeah 83, 82. I guess it's fine. Keegan Murray 79. That's fine. And then like Malik Monk 79. That's also fine. Herder 77. That's fine. Achua 76. That's fine. Darius Acuff, we'll see what he can do next year. He could possibly make a all rookie team. Wouldn't be surprised at all. The defending championship, New York Knicks, Jalen Brunson 96. That's fine. You gotta pay respects. You know, Finals MVP. I might get a little bit hated for this, but it might be a little bit too high. Maybe a 94, 95, but 96. You're like Jalen Brunson. He's a top 10 player in the league, I would say, but like he's not the same rating as Giannis. Giannis is better than Jalen Brunson. Like, come on, what are we doing here? But I can see what they're doing. He just won MVP, Finals MVP, and he had an amazing season last year. I guess we'll have him at 96. Cat at 93. I have kind of a problem with it. I don't think he's a 93. I think he's a 90. Like, obviously they're gonna get a lot of props for winning the championship last season and the run they went on. But 93 kind of seems a bit high for Cat. I think he's a 90, and Brunson's like a 95. You can call me like crazy. I think the Knicks have really good depth. That's why they won a championship. I don't think it's because of these two players. Obviously, they played a key part in the championship run, but like a little bit overrated for these two players. I'm probably gonna get hate for that, but it's just my opinion, man. So I'd have Brunson at 95 and Cat at a 90. OG as well. I think OG's not 88 overall. I think OG's an 86. I wouldn't mind having OG and an 86. 88. Yeah, he had that crazy like one of the great games in the finals. He had like 20 like 7 with that tip in or something like that. You know, I love OJ Anunoby. He's played for my favorite team. It still sucks we traded him, even though we got a decent package back. But like, imagine OG and Scotty. Like, if they were still together, that'd be a crazy duo, like defensive duo. Anyway. But yeah, OG 88. I can see what they're doing. They just won the championship. He had an amazing playoff run as well. But 86 for OG. Bridges 83 in my opinion. 84 is fine, I guess, but I wouldn't. I think he's an 82, 83. Say Josh Hart. I don't mind that 82. I don't mind that. McBride 79. I don't mind that. Shamet 77. I don't mind that. I don't mind that as well. Andre Drummond 76. Yep, I don't mind any of this back here. The Lakers, you know, Luka Doncic 96, well deserved. Austin Reeves 88, could be a little bit overrated, but I guess we'll be fine with that. He did have a pretty good scoring year last year. Walker Kessler 81, I don't mind that. Sexton 79, don't mind that. Grimes, don't mind that. I think Mamu should be a little bit higher. I think he had a very good year with the Raptors, and I don't think they would have. He had a pretty good playoff, so I think Mamu could be a 77, 78. Vanderbilt 76, I don't mind that. And yeah, I don't mind the rest of this down here. Orlando, we got Paulo at 87. I like that. I really think Paulo could be a part of like the 90s overall club, but like he's pretty inconsistent, but he's still young. Like, he's only 23. I think he's turning 24 this year, but you know, I think I had high expectations on Paulo like a few years ago. I remember thinking he would be like one of the next LeBron or whatever, but hasn't really worked out. He's really inconsistent, but I don't mind him at 87. Franz Wagner 85. That's pretty fair. Bane 84. I guess that's fair. Maybe he could be a little bit lower, but we'll have him there. Jalen Suggs 80. That's pretty good. Anthony Black 80. Yeah, I guess. Wendell Carter 79. That's not bad. Vukovic 78. That's also not bad. And then yeah, you got the role players on here. Dallas Mavericks. Cooper Flag at 87. I don't hate it. I do not hate it. He had a very good year last year. He's only 19 years old still. It's kind of crazy. I do think he will be one of the next, you know, big names. I don't know about an all-time great. You know, it's still so early to tell, but I do think he'll have a Hall of Fame type career if he stays healthy. So yeah, I like 87. Kyrie 87. I don't mind that. That's pretty decent as well. He didn't play a lot last year. I thought that could probably go up. That could probably go up by the end of the year. Najee Marshall 79, okay, and then all these guys are like 79s down here. Pretty well deserved. You know, a 79 overall in 2K. Anything over a 77, you're a pretty good role player. Like, you got your minutes, you're gonna get your buckets. Like, you're a pretty good role player. Anything above, like even Ricochet here. Ricochet's a decent role player, and he's a 76. It seems low 76. You probably don't play. No, 76 in 2K. That's a good overall. Like, you're a role player. Like, you're a good player. Like, even Max Christie, he's a decent player. He's only 75. Like, it takes a lot to, be over an 80. Anything over an 80, you'd probably be averaging over 15 points a game. Michael Ford Jr. 85. I don't hate that. Julius Randle 83. That's good. Yegor Demon 76. I guess that's fine. Noah Clowney. Yeah, Brooklyn's pretty ass. Like, I mean, these guys, I don't know how they're gonna work together. But yeah, a bunch of just young guys that they're gonna try to develop this year. Brooklyn's not trying to make playoffs or anything. They're just trying to, develop guys and hopefully get a top 3 pick next year. The Denver Nuggets, Nikola Jokic 97. I like that. He's getting up there in age, man. He's 31. But I do think that the Denver Nuggets are championship contenders this year. Their bench is iffy, but if you got their top guys, if they're playing well, this team this team's a top 3 team in the West behind San Antonio and OKC. You could have a strong argument that Minnesota is better than Denver, but I still got Denver better than Minnesota. But I think Denver's the third best team in the West. Defense does scare me, but you got Jamal Murray at an 89. Yeah, that's pretty good. He had a pretty good year last year. DeMar DeRozan 83. Could be a bit higher, but I guess I understand. Aaron Gordon 83. I don't mind. Cameron Johnson 80. I don't mind. Braun, whatever the fuck. 79. And then yeah, this bench, Julian Strawther could be decent off the bench. Marvin Bagley, he's probably their back. I'd say he's their backup big. Tyus Jones, he's a solid point guard, but their bench is definitely iffy. But they're gonna maybe go in the trade if they have a pretty decent record. Go all in and try to get some depth players. But Indiana Pacers, Tyrese Haliburton a 90. It's kind of hard to put him at a 90 because of the year he didn't play at all. But he did end off as probably a top 5 player in the world through that playoff run. He was absolutely going insane. I guess I don't mind him at a 90. I am a Haliburton fan. I was a huge fan of him when he made that playoff run. I remember watching that. I think a lot of us were rooting for Indiana to win that series, but I think if Tyrese Haliburton doesn't get injured, I think OKC loses that game, and they haven't even won a championship yet. Technically, if that would have happened, I think Tyrese Haliburton was going off in the first. I don't mind that. I guess we'll go Siakam 87. That's pretty. I like that. Zubats 84. That's reasonable. Nembhard 81. Reasonable. Aaron Nesmith 79. Okay, I don't mind it. Uber 79. I don't mind it. McConnell, I think he might be a little bit lower than that, but solid point guard. Obi Toppin 79. This team is deep, bro. This team could be a sneaker contender. Does sound pretty crazy to say that, but you never know. They pretty much have the same exact core besides adding Zubats and Oubre. 2 decent players. Trey Murphy is your best player. That's kind of high, low key. Yeah, he had a pretty good year last year, but I don't know if he's an 85, man. Zion 85. I'm disappointed in Zion. Zion has the highest ceiling. He could become a top 7, top 6, and even top 5 player in the league if he was never injured. Because he's an amazing defender. I mean, and he could have been like a Giannis, but a lot of health problems and stuff. But and you got DeJounte Murray 82, I guess. Sadiq Bey kind of high, but Herb Jones, I don't mind that. Derek Queen, I don't mind that. Benedict Mathurin I just picked up, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago now. I don't mind that. Jeremiah Fears, I don't mind that either. This team is decent, but they can maybe sneak into the play-in, but I see them being a 13th or 12th seed. Detroit, Cade Cunningham, 94. I think that should be a bit higher. I think it should be a 95. I'm a huge fan of Cade. I think he's a top 3-point guard in the league. Asar Thompson, 85. I don't mind that. He's not really known for his offense, but his defense is top 5 in the league, probably around there. Jalen Duren, 85. I don't mind that either. I have no clue how this guy made all NBA third team, bro. I don't think he deserves it. Over like guys like Scotty and stuff, like, bro. Like, be honest. Let me know in the comments. Would you prefer Jalen Duren or Scotty Barnes? People, Scotty Barnes is a way better player than Jalen Duren. I'm not saying Jalen Duren's a bad player, but like, I don't know, man. I don't know how he made. It's because all it is because Detroit was the #1 seed, so you gotta have two players. It's so stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Duncan Robertson, 79. I don't mind that. He's a good shooter. John Collins, 79. Don't mind that as well. Jenkins is a 79. I mean, I don't hate it, but like, kind of high. Isaiah Joe, 78. I mean, this team has a pretty decent bench. Ron Holland's only at 75. Okay. But yeah, like this team should make the playoffs. They should maybe even make this. I could see this team winning a playoff series, but I don't see them being top 3 in the East this year. To be honest with you, probably between a 3 and 6 seed. Okay, my Raptors. I mean, I love Bi, but I hate seeing him on this team. I wish I could see his Kawhi, man. I still have faith though. You know, I still have faith, but who knows when it's gonna happen. Anyway, we'll just go with this current roster. Scotty Barnes, 88. It's a little bit low. I sound biased, but man, Scotty's a top 5 defender in the league, and he just does it all, man. He's above average playmaker. He's not really known for his scoring, but he can go get you a bucket if you really wanted to. I maybe see him at 89, maybe even at 90, but I think that should go up this season, especially if he's playing alongside Kawhi. But Brandon Ingram, 84. He didn't have a good playoffs last year, but I think he's like an 86. You know, if it wasn't for him, I don't think the Raptors would have even made playoffs. He had a really good regular season, so. Maybe quickly, 82. I don't mind that. RJ Barrett, it's kind of low. I think he's at 80, 83, 84. Colin Murray Boyles, 80. I like that. I think he will be one of the better players for the Raptors, if that makes like not better players, but like I think that's gonna go up. He's only 21 years old. I think his offense, I think his shooting will get better throughout his career. But I just, yeah, I'm pretty big fan of Colin Murray Boyles. I'm so happy he's on the Raptors. I'm so happy the Raptors drafted him. Yeah, 80's a good overall. Pirtle is 79. I like that. Joey Walter, I think he should be a bit higher. I sound biased, but like, dude, Jacoby Walter had an amazing playoffs, and he had a pretty good second half as well. He shot the 3 ball pretty well. I think he was like our best shooter. I see Jacoby Walter being like a 77, maybe a 78. Jamal Shed, 76, a little bit low as well. I think 77. 77, maybe a 78, but I would be really happy with 77. 76 seems a little bit low. Jamison Battle, 74, I guess, yeah. Kyle Anderson, 73, I guess. You know, he's getting out there in age. He's more of just a kind of veteran kind of guy. Good guy to have in the locker room. Grady Dick, 73. Yeah, I don't mind that. It's sad to see him drop this much because he was like very good beginning of his second year, dude. First month of the season, he was averaging like 20 points a game. Like, he was going off. You know, I still think he'll become a decent role player. If he plays for LA this year, I think he'll get good minutes and he'll, you know, get his looks and get his shots. But apart from that, it kind of sucks that he never really worked out in Toronto. Trace Jackson, 71. I don't mind that. Even though I think he's actually a decent player, I don't know why the Raptors didn't have. Because when he played last year, he actually played pretty well. Like, he got like he played. He was decent. Like, I think he could have got minutes in the playoffs, but I guess not. Alan Gray, 71. I don't mind that he's 19th pick or whatever he was. I still think. I don't know how much minutes he will get this year, but you know, I'm hoping for a good future for him. I think he'll get his opportunities, and hopefully he becomes a good player. I can't really say much about him. He looked pretty good in summer league, so you know, I guess we'll look over, see how he does in the season. Andre Jackson just picked him up, 71 is fine. Not gonna lie, I don't know who this guy is. 71, I guess. We'll give him that. Elijah Martin, 70. Should be a bit higher. 73 for Elijah Martin. Malachi Smith. I kind of remember him. I think he played in Summer League. Wasn't, I guess, 70. I don't really know who these guys are. Jaden Bradley. I know who they are. They just drafted him. 69, I guess. He's a second round pick. Chucky Hepburn, 68. He should be a 70. That's about it. Alright, the Houston Rockets. Kevin Durant, 93. I guess, yeah, 93 is pretty reasonable for Kevin Durant. 87 for Şengün. That's pretty reasonable. Amen. 86. Pretty reasonable. Maybe drop him. Maybe 84. 85. Jabari Smith, 80. That's I don't hate that either. Fred VanVleet, 79. I don't hate that either. He didn't play it all last year, but I still think he's a pretty solid point guard in this league. Reached up for 79. I guess that's pretty fine. Marcus Smart, 79. He had a pretty good playoffs, but I don't know if he's gonna be. I don't know if he's that high. Maybe like a 77, 78. Tari Easton, 78. I don't mind that. Clint Capella, damn. Whoa, why does Clint Capella look like? Why does he look like he weighs like 380 pounds, bro? Hey, no hate though. 78. I guess he's kind of getting up there in age. Steven Adams, 74. Okay. Bogan, damn, bro. I remember he was pretty solid player, I thought. Okay. We're almost done here. San Antonio Spurs, Victor Wembanyama, 79. I like that. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's going to be a top 10 player of all time if he stays healthy. So, yeah, I like that. Stephon Castle in 87. I like that as well. I'm a pretty big fan of Stephon Castle. Just look at the age and the overalls here. Like, that, like, the top three guys, like, come on, man. Like, San Antonio will be probably a dynasty if these guys can all stay healthy. Dylan Harper, 85. I like that. He had a really good playoffs. I like that. De'Aaron Fox, 84. Reasonable, I guess. Yeah, 34 is pretty fine for him. Vassell, 81 is fine. Tobias Harris, 81. I think he should maybe 82. He had a pretty good year with Detroit last year. One of the reasons he was a solid player, right? He was a starter on that team. Champagne, 79. That's pretty good. Johnson's pretty good, 79. Luke Cornett, 76. Hey, shout out to Luke Cornett with that amazing block in the Western Conference Final. Harrison Barnes, I guess. Carter Bryant, I guess. That's about it. The Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker, 891, I guess. I think he could be a bit higher. I think it's a little bit underrated. Maybe 90, 92, 93. Dylan Brooks, another guy I think could be like an 83, 84. Easily the best player for Phoenix the second best player for Phoenix last year. Jalen Green, 81. I don't mind that. He had injuries last year and stuff. He's really inconsistent, but man, if he's on fire, man, he's almost really impossible to guard, honestly, when he's on fire. Miles Bridges, 80. That's fine. I guess he had a pretty good last year. Mark Williams, 79. That's pretty decent. I don't mind that. And then like a bunch of Luke Kennard, only a 75. I thought maybe a 76. Pat Spencer, 75. Ryan Dunn. Malawak, 73. He still has some time to grow. I still think he'll be a pretty solid center in this league. He just has more time to grow. He's still very young. The Oklahoma City Thunder, probably the best player in the world, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 97. I like it. Well deserved. You know, all these guys are be 97. So yeah, 97 for Shai. Chet Holmgren, 86. Too high. I think Chet Holmgren's like an 84. Maybe 85, 86 a bit too high. I think he's very overrated, in my opinion. Jalen Williams, 85. I think Jalen Williams is a better player than Chet Holmgren. I think Jalen Williams should be. They should maybe just swap these overalls. Hartenstein, 82. I don't mind that. AJ Mitchell, I don't mind that. It's kind of high, but I guess see what they're doing here. Casey Wallace, 81. Alex Caruso, 81. Jared McCain, 78. Yeah, these look all pretty reasonable. Minnesota Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards, 85. I guess, or 95. I like that. 86 for LaMelo, I guess, yeah. McDaniels, 85. Could be a little bit higher, but I see what they're doing with his defense and stuff. Rudy Gobert, 84. I don't mind that. DeSumo, 81. I don't mind that. Could be a bit high, honestly. DiVincenzo, 78. Looks good. Everyone else seems pretty good. Denny Avdia, 88 overall. I guess, yeah. I don't mind that. Daniel, 86. Makes sense. He didn't play last year, but I think he's probably higher than 86. Maybe like an 88. John Morant as well. I think he's like an 86, 87. But, hey, this top three could be very good. I'm just saying, that could be very good. It's kind of interesting with LaMelo, or Dame and Ja in the same backcourt. But, like, they have so many guards, bro. But yeah, Drew Holiday. Everything else looks pretty reasonable. The Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry, 93. Makes sense. Jimmy Butler, 85. I don't mind that. What is that photo of Porzingis? Anyway, 81 for Porzingis. I don't mind that. Jalen Green, Draymond Green, 79. Too high. Should be like a 77. Porzingis, I don't mind that. Guy Santos, damn, 78. I guess he had a pretty decent season. Al Horford, 77. It's fine. Moses Moody. Yeah, everyone else seems pretty good. Now this team is pretty decent, honestly. Got Anthony Davis, 90. Kind of surprising, because he has not played that much the last few years, which makes kind of no sense. I think Anthony Davis is an 87, 88. But when he's fully healthy, yeah, he's probably 90 overalls. But Trae Young, 87, I don't mind that. Alex Sarr, 83. I like Alex Sarr's game. 83 is pretty good. Keontae George, I guess 80 is fine. AJ Debance, 79. That should go up for quite a decent amount. Koulibaly, 78. That's not bad. DeAndre Ayton, that's not bad. Like, this team is pretty deep, man. They got Trey Johnson, Will Riley, Chris Middleton, Champagnie, Trey Mann. Trey Mann's pretty decent, bro. Like, this team should make the play-in next season. They should make the play-in. Maybe even playoffs. I wouldn't be too surprised. Okay. Oh, it's last team. All right. Well, that's last team. So, hey, if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments like your opinion and your thoughts on stuff. And let me know in the comments as well if you guys enjoy these sports kind of vibe video. I do love talking basketball, hockey, yeah, and baseball. I can talk all three of those sports. But yeah, like, subscribe, and let me know how you guys thought of this. Peace out, boys.